Hey everybody, welcome to This Board Game Life, episode number 48, right? Yeah, 48. Got that one right. My name is Rob, and with me, as always, I got my good buddy Mark.
Hey Rob, how's it going today?
Awesome. And I forgot to mention, well, actually, I didn't forget. I was going to switch things around a little bit here, but I was going to say this is the show about board gaming and anything else that we want to talk about. No
I would
towels.
have never
Our
guessed it was about board games.
Yeah, it is. Believe
How
it
are
or
people
not.
supposed to know that this is a board game podcast?
They can just listen and subscribe.
Ah,
That's how.
okay.
But yeah, we talk about board games, the hobby, gaming in general, whatever else we
You
want to talk
school
about.
me. You school
Yeah,
me is what
no
we do.
schooling. No
You
schooling.
you teach.
No.
You are the master. I am the
Nope.
Padawan.
Nope. And the title of this show, number 48, is Spiel Nominees 2023 or 23. Because we're going to be talking about a week ago, the nominees for the 2023 awards were announced. There's three classes, right? There's the Kennerspiel, which is like the advanced gamers game. There's the regular one, which has been around forever. Man, when did that start? It's like 20, 25 years ago. Let me see. The first award was in 1999. So what, 20, this is 24th year?
24th, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's also a kids one. So for many years there was just one. There was just the Spiel des Jahres award, which is like a family game. And then oh man, about like 10,
It
12 years.
says the Spiel des Jahres, I'm seeing it was created in 1978. Game of the Year award, board and card games created in 1978.
Okay.
And that, of course, that's Wikipedia, whether that's true or not.
Yeah.
Oh, and then since 89, there was a separate one for children's games. It doesn't say which one that is. Maybe that's the one. Oh, that was in 89. But I only see awards from 99 forward, which is weird.
Okay. Maybe there's some reason for it. Or it
Yeah.
could be the whole organization has been around since the 70s, since the late 70s, but who knows? What's most important is we got some nominees for this year.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to
And
sidetrack.
it's okay. And we'll chit chat about those. Yeah, so there's three awards. There's the regular like family game, there's the gamers game, like the more meaty, complicated games, and the kids games. And the kids games are usually pretty fun too. In years past, when my son was actually open to playing games, or he was easily forced to playing games, I used to get him, and there's some pretty cool ones that they had over the years. But yeah, we can talk about that and a couple other things. And I'll jump the gun a little bit here and ask you about Gen Con. Event registration opened up. What, about a week ago? How'd that work out?
Not so well.
You had a place in line, right?
I had a place in line, yep. And
So like fifth place, 10th place.
no, what the heck wasn't it? What I forgot what it was when it first started. It was a ridiculous number.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I said to you. I think it was like 27,000 or something like
Yeah, that
that.
sounds about right.
And this was like, I mean, granted, I didn't jump on right at 9 a.m. I think it was more like 9:20 when I like, oh crap, I got to go do this. Yeah, and by the time I got it, yeah, I was way behind. It was I think I was actually way even more than that.
Yeah,
It was an insane number what it was, but it took hours before it finally said, "Oh, you've got to tell me that you didn't get in." So, and I only tried for one event
yeah,
that had a limit of like 700 people. So, um, but it went quick. You were right. It went quick. So, and I got to be honest, in a way, I'm not really upset about it because I was thinking about it afterwards, or even before the event, before they did the opening of the event. I was like, we're going to be there at the event all day long. Do I really want to go to something from 8 till midnight
yes,
after
you do.
being there all day?
Of course.
So,
You
yeah, it'd be
have
nice to get
no
that.
idea.
I'm going to be so tired, man. I know I'm going to be
Whatever.
so exhausted.
You're going to be so, well, you might be dehydrated, but you're probably going to be caffeinated.
Did you get in to
I,
what is it, the AEG Big Show or whatever?
so
Or
to be honest, I didn't even try.
ah,
I don't even bother because so what used to happen years ago, I don't even know how many years ago, what used to happen is, event registration would open up, or uh, more famously, the housing would open up. And that's where they open up the hotel blocks that they have through Gen Con. And what used to happen is, like, okay, it would open up, let's say 11 o'clock on a Sunday, and the whole site would crash because there's like a bajillion people hitting it, and it wouldn't work. So eventually, they came up with that like lottery system. So you were lotteried a particular place in line, and it's ridiculous. Like every time I tried, like for the hotels, I'd be like 4 hours in. It's like, okay, yeah, you can log in at 4 o'clock. Thanks for nothing.
yeah,
It's like eventually, I like now I don't even bother. Um, I don't even try. I just do hotel outside the system, and then similar kind of thing with the events. It it's frustrating to say the least, I guess. Like, you get that thing like, oh, you're 27,152 in line.
yeah,
Okay, that just pissed me off.
yeah.
Because now I have no. You're basically telling me I have no chance. It's like, right? I mean,
Exactly.
if it was like, oh, hey, Mark, you're number 200 in line, then you're like, okay, cool. All right. Not everybody's going to be, going after the same stuff. People have different interests, right? Some people are more D&D. Some people are, you know, CCGs, like, Magic the Gathering, tabletop gamers. You got your LARPers, whatever it is, right? Everybody's got their thing. So, you know, you might have a chance if your number's low, but if it's big, it's just like you're basically telling me I'm just going to waste my time. I'm not even going to check it. Maybe I have a bad attitude. Maybe I've been hardened by years of server outages, and what it
Yeah.
reminds me of? It reminds me of like when the Xboxes go on sale. You know what I mean? And like you finally see, Target has them in stock, and you're trying to like put them in your cart. You're trying to put one in your cart, and you can't check out. But
Yeah.
but yeah, so the one thing about that big game night that we were talking about previously and we were talking about now is that a lot of the event, not a lot, some of the events allow you to purchase generic tickets, and you can go there, and so you buy like $38 in generic tickets, And then you go over there and you kind of cross your fingers and hope that you get let in because they do let in a bunch of walk-ins.
Okay.
So that's what I've typically done in years past. And then once in a while, once in a blue moon, if you keep checking the events, there'll be one that opens up for whatever reason. Somebody cancels it, or
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever
I'm not
they
gonna
do.
worry. I'm not worry about it. I mean,
Yeah.
we can always, if we're gonna go over there and maybe see if we can get in the day of, then I'll just go
Hmm.
with you. But
Yeah.
otherwise, that's yeah. I'm not gonna worry about it.
And I do have to say, it's like, so Friday, which is when it is, it's late. It's late in the evening. So okay, the hall closes at 5, and then there's these big gaming halls, with like hall E, whatever the numbers are, letters are,
Right.
and there's stuff that's going on in those all the time, and typically, once the hall closes, everybody either goes to dinner, they go back to their hotels, or they go to the gaming halls. So once the hall closes or whatever, go get some food and then show up, back around like 7:30, something like that.
Yeah.
And by that point, yeah, you might be tired, but still there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stimulation, and you're ready to get your game on.
I'll be ready to get my sleep on.
You're at the wrong place, man. Ain't no sleeping. Ain't no sleeping happening.
Yeah, it's gonna be. It'll be interesting to see. To see how I handle this. So
No, it's good. Like I said, it's one of those things. There's a lot of stuff going on, and like for me, I don't really realize how tired I am until I stop.
yeah.
Like, and when you stop, that's or when you stop and then there's like nothing going on, that's when it hits you. Yeah. So, and generally, there's usually like one day that we spend just like walking the hall, like going from one side to the other, just walking up and down. That's almost like a full day.
right.
And the rest of the time is just like hitting certain booths, like Surgical Strikes, doing some gaming, all sorts of stuff. But yeah, it does go by quick. And then by Sunday, it's like, yeah, it's time to go.
I need a wheelchair to get me back on the plane because I can no longer
Hmm.
walk.
Yeah.
Thankfully,
Yeah.
my return flight is a straight shot from
Nice.
Indianapolis to Seattle, so I won't have to change planes on the way back.
What is that,
So,
like a 4 hour flight?
I believe so. Yeah.
Somewhere around there? Yeah. I figure
Yep.
it'd be just a little bit further than Chicago. So like three and a
Yeah.
half, 4 hours at least.
So,
Okay. So anyway, what have you been playing lately?
oh
Anything
boy,
new and anything new and exciting?
I got a lot of new, a lot of exciting, a lot of frustrating. So let me start at the top here. Yesterday, I got a game to the table
Hmm.
um, called Harry Potter Death Eaters Rising. Um, it was, I was very frustrated during this game. I was getting
What do you mean?
really ticked off. I was not happy.
So
So
wait, is this the card game or
it
is this a new one? I'm not sure.
this is one that's a cooperative game. It's not the Hogwarts Battle is like the deck builder.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
So
This
it's
is a
not like an expansion to that.
no. This is a separate game. It's in the Rising. So there, I guess I guess this is a game mechanic, and all these games that are following this type of mechanic are called Rising.
Hmm.
I remember I talked to you about. I played one called like Avatar, The Last Airbender, Fire Eaters Rising, or something like that at one of my game nights. And this is the same thing. It's just, but it is played a little bit differently. But you've got this board and you got this statue of Voldemort like in the middle, and basically he can spin three different directions. Every start of the beginning of every turn, every person's turn, um, Voldemort will either move to a location, basically point at a location. While the player picks where they're going, where them and their little team of wizards or witches are going, and then you roll the die for Voldemort to move, essentially move. And if he doesn't move, he might do I forgot what it's called, but it's like the dark. It's not dark arts. It's something else. But he basically activates all the dark arts or the Death Eaters and all the people on his team essentially to do their abilities at all locations. So you really don't want that. You'd rather have him go somewhere because then only that one location is impacted. But there's allies. So there's three locations. Each location could contain allies and or Voldemort armies of Voldemort or whatever they're called. The bad guys. And they can. So you're trying to recruit. You start out with basically one wizard. And there's like three different factions that you can choose from. There's something about the Phoenix. Then there's Dumbledore's army, and then there's Hogwarts. So as Hogwarts, you can be either Dumbledore or the lady that in the movies or in the books that is kind of equal to him or with him all the time. You pick one of those two wizards or which it to be. And then if you're Hogwarts army, you can start out as Harry Potter or Hermione Granger. If you are in the other one, I think it's like the Order of the Phoenix, I think. You can be Sirius Black, or there's another character. I think its last name, I think, is Toga, something like that. Anyways, there's basically a male and a female character in each of them. So you select one, and that's kind of your starting character. And then you're basically trying to go to a location. You want to try to, and you're rolling dice. So it's basically a dice roller, and you trying to, and everybody has, based on your faction, you have certain types of dice you can roll, and there's like 4 different colored of dice. They are like the yellow dice gives you there's, I think it's 4 different types of possibilities. So think of the dice. It's a 6-sided dice. They're all 6-sided, but with 4 options. Okay, so there's a 1, 2, 3, and a 4. Well, on the yellow dice, the fourth, and there's symbols. I'm just using numbers to make this sound better. So there's 4 symbols, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So on the yellow dice, though, the number 4 symbol will also be on the 5th side. And then on the 6th side, that number 4th emblem will actually be worth a value of 2. It's like you rolled 2 of those symbols. And then the red is the same way, and it's a different, like the red dice has like the phoenix on it. The yellow has like this sword on it. And the purples have like, I think, the wands, and so forth. So based on, and everybody's rolling, it's a big pool of die, and depending on your wizard that you have, and then all the allies you recruit, you get to throw more dice. It's like an engine building too. So you try to recruit allies to allow you to throw more dice to be able to do more things and recruit more. And you're also trying to attack the enemies because you want to get them out of the locations. And then there's a draw deck. So every time an ally or an enemy is removed, you pull out you just draw the top card, and you never know what you're going to get at that location. Voldemort's trying to take over the locations, and you can't do anything to him
once you've dealt out the original starter cards and the cards that go on the table originally, then you stick his card like in the middle of the deck. So you can't do anything until you clear people out and get his card to reveal. Once he's revealed, then you can start doing damage, but you still have to take out like 5 of the enemy players before you can actually do damage to him. And by the time we got to him, we'd only taken out 1. And it was just a disaster. And I never was able to recruit anybody. So at the end of the game, when we finally lost, everybody else at the table had a whole freaking slew of allies. I had nobody. I could not roll the dice to save my life to get anything. Now, I was able to defeat a couple of guys, but I couldn't get anything going. Like, and it was so frustrating. I'm sitting here rolling 4 dice every time, and it's like, oh, well, you've got to have 4 of this kind and 1 of this kind. It's like everything was just stacked against me. It's like I can't get these because I don't have enough dice, and it just really, I got really irritated with that. Everyone else has all kinds of people, and I had just my starter the whole time. I was really not happy.
Okay.
It's a fun game, and it is a hard game, but it just wasn't working for me. I was reconsidering my enjoyment of dice rollers.
Okay.
The other game you talked about, the card game, we also did play some Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle, which is the cooperative deck building game. And this one's really interesting because there's basically 7 different scenarios. And what you do is when you open up the box, you have games 1 through 7, essentially, all in little like playing card boxes, right, of various sizes. So the first one's pretty large. So then you get into, once you've beaten everybody, you've in the first game, you're basically trying to, it's kind of similar to the other game in a way that I just mentioned, because in the first game I was talking about, Voldemort's trying to take over all these locations, and if he's able to take over 4 locations, you lose. If he's able to take over 1 location, which is, so the 4 locations, what that means is there's a total of 3 locations. All right, I'm sorry, I gotta bounce back to the first game, Death Eaters Rising. So Voldemort's in the middle of this little board, and he pivots into 3 directions, and there's 3 different locations. Okay, there's like the Ministry of Magic, there's Diagon Alley, and I can't remember what the other one was, but it's you, in each location they're put 2 cards on it. Okay, so if he captures either, so there's a total of basically 2 cards and then the base space at each location. So if they capture both cards and the base location, you lose. If he captures 4 locations, which would be like maybe 2 cards from one place and 1 card from the other 2 places, the team loses. If any one person, like myself, I was in a bad spot of losing for the whole team because I only had 1 wizard. So, and at one point she had only 1 health left because I was playing as Hermione, and but I was able to heal her. But if I had taken that last hit and basically lose that wizard and I have nobody else on my team, we all lose the game. There's like all these different ways to kind of reminded me like Pandemic. There's all these ways you can lose the game and only one way to win it.
Okay.
So that was kind of how Death Eaters was. Now with Harry Potter's Hogwarts Battle, you've got a board. It's a deck builder. There's a couple of enemies that will come out, but when you start and you're in game 1 of that, you're only fighting 1 enemy at a time. And there's a location that is on the board. and they're trying to take that location over. So different things happen, and these little markers get put. They're called little Death Eater tokens. Get put on the board, on the cards, and once the location has been filled up, they capture that. So you're trying to basically, before they capture all the locations, wipe out both enemy cards. Now, once you're able to do that, and you're dealing with the dark arts, so at the beginning of every turn, you flip a dark arts card, and basically crap happens, and usually the team is getting hosed. Oh, everybody loses health, or everybody loses 2 health, or the active player can't use spells, or blah blah blah. But you're trying to recruit cards to get into your deck to make it more powerful by there's like 6, I think there's always 6 cards on the table that are available to purchase. So you're trying to play things. You start out with some spells that give you like 1 what is it? Influence. I think it's an influence token. It's the money, it's the coin, right? So you got to have enough of those in your hand to purchase cards on the field that are available to purchase, or you can attack. Some will give you an attack, and you can put an attack damage towards one of the towards the bad guy. Basically, you got to get them. If you can get all the bad guys taken care of, then you move to game 2, and you open up the second box. You get some new enemy types, which now join. They're shuffled in with the previous ones. You get some new dark art cards that are more powerful. You get some more Hogwarts cards, which is what we're pulling from, like to recruit. So there's more powerful spells, there's more powerful allies, things like that you're trying to purchase to get in your deck. Then when you do, and it basically does the same thing, but now it's a little harder. You've got to defeat 4 people, 4 enemies. So we did that, and we went on to game 3. Now this box was a little bit bigger, and we replaced all our hero cards, and now on game 3, our heroes gained abilities, and then they added like more bad guys, more locations, more of the dark art cards, and again, all these are getting hard, and more of the Hogwarts cards. So every time you go up, it's adding more stuff, and it's getting a lot harder. And we actually lost game 3. So now when we pull it out again, we're going to start with game 3, and we'll try to win again. And then if we can, then we move on to game 4. And again, it's that game 4's got that box of cards is big, like the first one. So I don't know what it's going to add, but there's a lot of content in the 4th game. And what's interesting too, it's kind of neat, is it seems like they're introducing characters from the movies. I say the movies, I know this is books, but all the artwork is from the movies.
Okay.
So like you in game 3, like in the game 1 and 2, we all have our character cards, and it's a picture of like Harry Potter from like the first movie. And then when you get to game 3, you get a new hero card, and they get an ability on it. So the card's different, but the image is different. All the characters are showing them as they were in like movie 3. So you're seeing them get more powerful and growing up. And then the characters that are introduced in those little boxes are also like what was introduced in the book/movie. But what you see on the cards are the movie images. They're pictures right from the movies. So it's kind of neat how, so anyone that really knows what's going on, like in book 4 or movie 4, could probably figure out, like I've only seen the movie once, so I don't really remember, but they might be like, oh yeah, you'll see this and this person and that person and these things, you've got those things to look forward to. But that's a fun one. I do like, and you can use, is this the one? Well, yeah, it was a fun game. Both games are fun. If you've got a family that really likes Harry Potter, both of these are a lot of fun, and they're both cooperative, which is nice. One's a deck builder, one's kind of a dice roller. So there you go. Moving on to shorten this long discussion, I played Ticket to Ride.
Okay.
I played a game.
Oldie but a goodie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Really enjoyed that game. And what kills me, man, I was so frustrated in this one because I was, you're tracking your points as you go, and right at the end, I was pretty far ahead of everybody. But I was telling, and my mother was making a comment like, "Oh, you're winning," and I said, "Oh, this means nothing." I said, I probably won't win, even though I'm ahead of everybody. I said, I'll probably get smoked here at the end. I said, because what it comes down to is your
Yeah.
destination tickets. And
Right.
I had 2 really long runs from the initial draw plus a shorter one. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go after all of these. And that's all I dedicated was just to those 3. And what happened was at the end, I was 1 train car short of making my second long run. I made my short run. I made 1 long run. I made from like my LA to Miami, and I made from Sault Ste. Marie to Nashville, and then I had a Nashville to Portland. And I was working on that one, and when I finally was like started to like count, I thought I was like, oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna get this. I need these cards, and then finally I was like, how many train cards do I have left? And how many do I need? And I was 1 short.
Oh, wow.
I was like, I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So I lost 17 points right there because there was nothing I could do. There was no way for me to make it. And so right from the get go, there was not going to be enough trains. So it wasn't like I threw one somewhere else, because I looked again. I was like, did I put everything? Everything was right where I would have needed it. And there wasn't there was not like a shorter way to make that happen. So right from the get go, I could not have completed those.
Okay.
So lesson learned for next time. Don't take
Yeah.
on 2 large runs.
Yeah.
Or count your train cars first.
Yep.
So I still ended up in second place, but still, that was frustrating there to realize I was 1 train short. Otherwise, I would have done very well. Probably would have won the game had I been able to complete that. But anyways, also picked up a new game called 20 Questions, which was it was really different than kind of what I expected. Kind of a fun party game. It's a party game. But it's there's like 20. So 1 person is the reader of the card. So they pick the card up and they will say, I am a person, place, or a thing. And then there's 20 things that they can read on there. And then the answer is at the bottom of what we're trying to. So the person to their left, to the person to the left of the reader will say a number between 1 and 20. And then there's 2 boards in the game. So one of the boards is you're tracking your marker for how many points. You're trying to go from start to finish. The other board it's just this little circular board with numbers 1 through 20 on it. And then there's all these like little tiny plastic poker chip type things. And basically, so say someone says, I want question 7. So you put a token on 7. That way we all know and that person, then the reader reads that question to that person. Now, if they can guess off that 1 question, then they're going to score 19 points and the reader will score 1. Now, because the reader doesn't play in trying to guess, obviously. Now, so obviously the reader wants benefits by the longer that we go around. So if they don't get it, they can't guess, they don't know, then it passes to the next player and they pick, which question do you want? So they just pick a number and then they get to hear that question. And now they know 2 questions.
Right.
And they try to figure it out. So some of these things will say, though, instead of it being a question, it'll be like lose a turn. So I'll say, give me number 12, and they'll read it and it says lose a turn. So I'm done, and I don't get to go the next time.
Okay.
So not all the 20 things listed on the card are always clues to what you're trying to guess. Sometimes they'll be like, go back a space or go back whatever, or there's things that like you really don't want those. And my son, was it my son? No, it wasn't him. I think it was my daughter that got it. There was a question that was basically, I am a person, and the answer was George Washington. And the clue she picked was something of like, I have a statue of me in DC.
Okay.
And so it's like, crap, like if she gets this, like, I mean, that really narrows it down. Like, I mean, sure, there's a lot, but she just took a guess of George Washington. And I'm like, you got it. She just went up 19 points and ended up winning the game. But not all were like that. There were many.
Mhm.
There was one where I think the question was guessed after like 16 questions had been, or clues had
Oh,
been
wow.
given.
Yeah.
So the reader got like, who was reading it, they got like 16 points. The person that guessed it only got 4.
Okay.
So it was kind of an interesting way of doing it. Of playing that kind of game, but it was fun. We enjoyed it, and it's a good one. It's a party game. It's a good game for like anybody to play, of all ages.
Okay.
Also played Codenames. We did this the same day. I did not like Codenames. And what was interesting was I was really looking forward to playing this because I've heard so many good things about it. I've I guess not personally, but I've seen like people talk about it. It's rated high, it seems like it'd be a good party game. So we played it and it was like, okay, this is a good idea. But then when we played the game, and I was with my younger son, who
Okay.
can be a challenge sometimes to play games with him. And I'm like, but I was like, I'll let my older son and grandma be on a team. And so we started, and I was like, okay, trying to give multiple clues, but as we were going, like the first time, and I messed up the first time. I mean, it was like the very first time we'd ever played.
Right.
And I said something like electronic, and he immediately went to robot. And I was like, oh, crap. I didn't even see robot. I didn't even see that card. I was focusing on the cards that I was trying to get him to guess. It was like battery, cell phone, watch. I think those were the 3 or something like that. And I'm like, electronic, and he went to robot. I was like, oh crap, he's right, but I'm an idiot because I didn't see that card.
Yeah.
But it got to the point where it was like, for most of what we were doing was picking out, just doing a one, like you'd say a clue and then say the number 1, because you're saying how many clues, my clue goes towards how many of the cards that are on the table. And seemed like it was really easy. Like I'd say a clue, I'd say one card, and he'd immediately, boom, this. Yep, that's right. And then you keep going. And we almost ran the table. Like we did, like, I think we had to get 9, we got like 8. And then before we missed one.
Mm-hmm.
And then and of course my son's like, well, I'm gonna do one at a time too, because that seems to be the way to do it. And it was just, they ended up running like all 8 of theirs in one. And it's just like, so we tried, okay, we'll try it again. Maybe it was just the way this game played out. It was the same thing the second round too. Like, I'm not finding things like that I could give an idea of, like, okay, this clue will get you to 3 different cards out here. Maybe you can get all 3 in one shot. And I see the benefit of that, but it really seemed like it was easier just to say one clue, one card, and pick the best possible clue for that card. It seemed, and
Right.
it just seemed too easy, and nobody really enjoyed it. And like our
Interesting.
team won 1 and their team won 1, and we were just like, okay, this just seems like who's gonna, who goes first is gonna win almost. It just, I kept looking at the rules. I'm like, are we doing something wrong? But it didn't seem like we were. So I don't get the fascination with this game. Like, I get the concept. Like, to me, I'm still thinking like we must be doing something wrong, you know?
Yeah.
Because it didn't seem to have a very tense play. And maybe it's because maybe it would be better if you were with like people you didn't really know, or maybe like maybe not family, but maybe like friends.
Hmm.
I shouldn't say friends you don't know. I guess I mean it like my son would say something. I remember he said game,
Hmm.
and there was words out there like board, casino, um I think there was card. There was several things that I'm like, okay, board game, because games are played in a casino. I think there was a diamond and like diamond and a jack was listed. Like, okay, those are cards, suits, um, and but I was like, okay, I'm really thinking like, okay, I know my son. Do I know him well enough? Looking at everything on the board, I'm like, board. He's like, yeah. We had several like that where he gave a clue that could go to like, and he's like one. So it's like, okay, he's specifically pointing at one card. He wants me to find one. So it wasn't like saying a clue and saying three cards, because then I could have guessed all three. He said one. So that means I have to find what he's looking at. And it was because I'm like, okay, we could go for this. That could go for that. That could go for that. That could go for that. Which of these four is he wanting me to guess? And I got him, but it was because I was like, how is he thinking? And that's why I'm like, if you maybe were with friends that you're, maybe not completely, around them every single day, you may not
Right.
know exactly how they're thinking. So maybe the challenge is there a little bit better, but I don't know. I don't see this one coming back out again. And I was kind of sad. That was something I was really looking forward to playing.
Yeah, I think that's one that is very the group that you play it with and like their logic can like make or break that kind of game.
Yeah.
Like if you get somebody who's like way different than you and they see something like plane and they think math as opposed to an airplane. It's
Oh
like,
yeah. Yeah.
it's like where really technically it's right. It's like a
Yeah.
like a or
Or if you were
geometry
playing,
or whatever. I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you had
It's
a carpenter at the table, they're going to think another typical different type of plane.
yeah, exactly. So I mean part of the
So,
thing is also to figure out the person and what they're gonna guess.
yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. I would still give it. I would give it another try with a different audience.
Okay, maybe.
There's so much better
Maybe
stuff
I
to
can take
play.
it to game group or something one night and
Yeah.
play with people that I only see at game group. So,
Yeah.
all right. But speaking of game group, got introduced to a really fun game. Which now that I think about it, why did I buy it? I ended up buying it that night, and now it's like, well, I can't really play it at home because I don't have enough people. Um, but it's called Bang La Pallottola. I don't know. The second word is Italian. So it's weird. It's like the game is half English, half Italian.
Hmm.
But basically, I think it's just called Bang. Maybe La Pallottola means bang. I think maybe that's bang in Italian. But I played Bang, and the game comes in a bullet shaped can. So it's going to be fun. This game was somewhat, we ended up playing it like, so someone brought it, he taught it to the group. We all had so much fun. We're like, oh, let's play it again. We got done with that one. We're like, yeah, let's play it again. We ended up playing it like 3 times that night. And I ended up going upstairs and buying it. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. You're basically someone's the sheriff, and then depending on the amount of people you have, so plays best at 5. You will have. I'm sorry, plays best at 6. Well, you can play at 5. 3, 4, 4. Yeah, you can. It plays best at 5 because with 5 you can have. So someone's a sheriff, and if you're the sheriff, you turn over your card, and everyone knows who the sheriff is. Everyone else's identity is secret. Now there should be it plays best at 5 because then that can give you a deputy who's no one knows who the deputy is, but the deputy will basically try to protect the sheriff. There are you can have or to have real fun. You get 6 people, which we had. So we had 3 outlaws and a renegade. So the outlaws just want. I think if don't hold it to me, but the outlaws just needed to kill the sheriff. The renegade needed to outlive everybody, and the sheriff obviously is trying to outlive everybody. And the deputy's trying to help the sheriff because the sheriff's outnumbered. So, and it's a deck builder essentially. You're drawing cards and playing cards, and you get weapons and abilities, and you can shoot so far to 1 to your left or 1 to your right or 2 places to your left or to your right. And so you might know who the sheriff is, and you may not have the range to shoot at him. So, and you're trying not to shoot. You don't want to necessarily shoot the person to your left because they could be a fellow outlaw. The sheriff, and it would suck because I was a sheriff on the very first game, and I had to go first. And I'm like, well, I don't want to shoot anybody because I'm the sheriff. I don't know who's anything yet. And the only thing I had was to shoot. That was the only thing I had available for me was to shoot or like a miss. So I had to shoot someone. So turned out that they weren't the sheriff, which is good. Or I mean the deputy. So that was good. But it's a lot of fun. It's a very easy game to play, and it was a lot of fun. We all enjoyed it.
Oh, very nice.
So I got 2 more, and then I'm done, Rob. I know we're like 45 minutes in, and I'm still talking about. But hey, you talked about awards a lot to start, so it's not all my fault. I did it. You're gonna be upset with me, but
No,
my son came home, and not long ago I decided to pull the big guy. Yeah, my son came home from his first year of college, and I had just recently pulled the trigger on Catan. And I just kind of felt like I need to have this game. It just seems like something I should have in my collection.
Okay.
And I tried after I got it, then I ended up buying the game on the Xbox. And I was like, well, I was trying to understand the directions, like watching how to play. And I was like, this makes no sense to me. And so I'm like, let me play the video game. They'll walk you through and explain it. Yeah, whatever. No, it's like the game on the Xbox. It's like they kind of expect you. I think they expect you to already understand it. I was so confused. I was like, this makes no sense. I don't get it.
Yeah,
I was
you're
like,
better
okay,
off
well,
with the iPad version.
And I'm like, this. I guess this game's never getting played. So then Colin was here one day, and he's like, hey, can we play Catan? That game is awesome. I was like, what? I go, you've played that? He goes, oh, we played all the time in college. Go get it. I'm like, to the table. So he taught it to us, and I kicked butt.
Oh, nice.
I had a very good game. And I will say the fact that I kind of watched to try to how to play and tried to play some of the things and he was explaining it. And I was like, okay, it's like I've been through, I kind of did the mock playthrough on the Xbox and, watching a playthrough and having it explained to me. So some of the things he was like, oh, and this happens. And this, like, he was saying, oh, when the thief, you roll the 7, you move the thief. And I was like, yeah, but I get to steal stuff too. And he's like, no, you don't. I said, I'm almost positive you do. And he goes, that's not the way we played. I said, and he's like, let me look at the rule book. And he goes, oh, you're right. So again, you never know how people are taught. It was really good but it made so much more sense when someone could explain it as we played. And I did enjoy the game. It was kind of nice. It's not
Nice.
like my favorite, but I would play it again.
Okay.
Probably because I won. That's probably why I enjoy.
I'm sure that helped.
I'm sure that helped. But I ended up with the longest road and the largest army, and it right at the end, it was what was really fun for me was I was pretty much ahead from the start because I got the longest road right off the bat, and then nobody else was really a threat to take that away. And I kind of just kept my eye on it, made sure I was like, I want to keep this. But then at the end, I was one of those things that's like, oh man, this is one of those, how I play this moment could completely destroy me or be the, it could be my good, whatever. I could win it all, right? But it's like, which way do I do this? Well, how do I make this play? So I ended up, I think, because I could have built like, what is it, a city? The big part. There's like a, what is it, a township and then a city or something like that. But and you get more points for it. But I was like, well, you lose the city point or you're not really gaining that much. And I was looking at different options of how can I get, because I was like at 7 points. I was getting there. And then I decided to, with the resources I had, I decided I'm gonna try to take some of those cards. I forgot what they're called. But there's these cards you can pay for that can give you some different bonuses and stuff like that. And I ended up doing it like twice. And that ended up allowing me to, I ended up pulling, I had a knight out. And if you get 3 knights, you get the largest army. And so my first time I was like, okay, I'm going to just gamble with these cards. I don't normally go that route. And I got a knight. So I was like, okay, put him down. That's 2. I'm like, well, I know there's cards that will give you victory points. Maybe I'll get lucky. No one has pulled one yet. And I'm like, I'll just gamble and do this. But I'm like, if I do this, I got basically no resources left to try to build anything to get more points. So I went with it and I pulled another knight. And so I played it. That gave me the largest army and that put me to 10 points. And I won the game. And I was so happy. I was like, yes.
Oh, nice.
So, and then the last game I picked up, it's called Setup. This is a tile stacking game. There's like 4 tiles in the middle, and then each player can play up to 4. So each player on their side of the board has another 4 spots to put tiles, and no one else can put tiles in your area. But they can use what's in your area to build and gain points for their own runs. And it's kind of like you're trying to get the numbers. I think they're numbered 1 to, what is it? 1 to 10, maybe 1 to 12. I don't remember the number range, but something like that. So the tiles are numbered and they're colored. So they have like suits, but you can put numbers down. Like you can put like 3 6s out, right? That, and everything it just has to touch, like be next to it in line. And you kind of if you can put 3, out, 3 6s out, doesn't matter the suit. You're putting, kind of think of it like playing almost like rummy. You're doing suits or a run. So you can put like 3 6s out and gain some points. You can put a 2 3 4 5 6 out, but then they all have to be of the same suit, all the same color. And so people are putting different tiles and you can stack. So you can replace a tile by stacking a new one on top of it. And it doesn't matter what's there. You're just putting new tiles out every time on your turn. You're trying to use what's there with what you have. Think of like Scrabble. You have this little tray of 4 tiles on it that no one else can see. And then there's tiles that are like in the marketplace that are free to use for everybody, kind of a la Azul. So you can take tiles from there or from your own tray, and you're trying to do these runs to get as many points as you can. And then while you're doing it, you got to be careful, because you might help someone else. And it gets real interesting the way that it, as you get going and the way the numbers change, sometimes you can just like, oh, I can do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or I can get 5 10s out here. And, cause you only have 1 10 in your hand, but if there's 4 of them out there and you can put the one in the middle to connect them all there, you just connected them all and, you gaining points. So neat little tile game. So that was fun, but that's it.
Okay.
I'm done. 56 minutes.
You're done. Oh, nice. Yeah, my list is a lot simpler, seemingly as usual. I spent, I'd say, half of the last 2 weeks in Las Vegas, so I didn't have a whole lot of at home time. But I did
But
actually.
were you at the table?
What?
Were you at the table? You were in Vegas. Did you get to the table?
No.
I
did not step foot on the strip or a casino the entire time I was there.
Oh.
But had a lot of fun. And I did get a little bit of gaming in yesterday. And this is an oldie but a goodie. Not too old, but it's a game called Tiny Towns from AEG. And this game kind of has a special place in our hearts, I guess, because in 2019 when we went to Gen Con, I don't remember. I think it was at the AEG Big Game Night, or it might have been just at the booth. I don't remember, but we got the chance to try this game because that was when it was being released, and we were taught this game by the actual designer.
Cool.
Yeah, his name is Peter McPherson. So that was pretty cool. And my friend's daughter was like, like like on the Monkeys, like the whole Davy Jones. He's looking at the girl, little sparkle in the eye.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, she was like enamored with this guy, and just kept wanting to go back and like waving hi to him, and it was a cool experience for her, and we all had fun with the game, and it was just cool to see her like so excited about seeing the designer and stuff. But it's a cool little game. Nothing like super crazy. I'd probably say a good way to explain it is it's like kind of like a take on bingo, maybe. Basically, there's a bunch of different resources that you use. There's like wheat, wood, brick, um, glass, stone, I think, or something like that. Yeah, I think that's all of them. There's a bunch of different resources, and somebody like whose turn it is, they call out the resource, and then you have a 4x4 player board. It's like a grid, and then you place these resources down in particular patterns. Think Tetris pieces, right? Or what, polyominoes. And if you have certain resources in certain spots in a particular shape, then you build a building. So there's like churches, there's taverns, wells. There's like 2 or 3 others. I'm drawing a blank on the name. Warehouse. Warehouses lets you put cubes on top of them to store them and stuff. But yeah, you basically you build the buildings based on the resources in particular shapes. And then at the end of the game, the scoring is dependent on like how many buildings you have, their layout and stuff. It's a fun little game. Think something like Bingo. It's got kind of like a King Domino or King Domino uh, type of effect, where it's like where you place things matters, right? What you have next to something else is really important. But it's a fun game. I've actually got an expansion for it that I've never tried, so one of these days I have to give that a shot. But it's a cool game. It's simple, and it was one that we just sort of needed to just have a rules refresher, even though Gen Con 2019 was what, 4 years ago.
Yeah. So
And
this was what, Tiny Towns? Is that what you called it?
yeah, Tiny Towns. Yeah, there's another game that's got a really similar name, like Tiny Cities or something like that. It's not the same thing. But yeah, it's a game by AEG, and
Okay.
it's pretty cool. Definitely give it a thumbs up. Definitely give it a nice thumbs up. And that was it. That was it for me. And yeah, let's get on with the main topic. Let me see. I'm trying to find my show notes. Here they are. Yeah, so the Spiel des Jahres nominations were announced while I was out of town, actually, and we had a bunch of games that were announced. Right, 3 for each class. The regular one, the Kennerspiel, and the Kinderspiel, which is the kid game one. And I thought it'd be cool to kind of talk about a couple of these. Now, as far as I know, I don't think we've played any of these. Actually, I know for sure we haven't. And so the thing about these is that it's a German award, right? And not all the games are available here in the United States always. However, you can guarantee that whichever game wins will be available. And there's always been like a big thing like, hey, if your game gets nominated, it's gonna, sell like crazy. And if it wins, jackpot. You're like almost guaranteed to have like a hit game if it gets if it wins one of the classes. And some of the games in the past have been like Azul. Cascadia was last year. Oh man, there's a long list of games. Catan, I think it won at some point. Man, like 20 years
Yeah.
ago. I just pulled up the list. Yeah, Carcassonne um, is one that you probably know, right? Settlers won in '95. Let's see what else.
Quirkle. I
Yeah,
played that
Quirkle.
one.
Yeah,
Forbidden Island was a nominee, but Quirkle.
yeah, Quirkle. King Domino. Codenames was 2016. Yeah.
Okay.
Kingdom Builder, Dixit, Dominion. Man, Dominion is what started the whole deck builder
Oh yeah.
craze. Zularetto's a good one. Oh man, 2006, Turn Taxis. That's a good game. Love that game. Ticket to Ride was '04. Alhambra, 2003. That's a really good game. I actually backed there's a Kickstarter for like a redone version of it, and I got suckered into that. I'm weak. What can I say? Um, yeah, Kenner Spiel was Seven Wonders Village, really good game. Legends of Andor, really good game. Istanbul, cool game. Actually, all these games. Quacks of Quedlinburg, Wingspan was one of them.
That's a good one. I really like that.
Yeah, so that's like the harder style, right? There's more rules. It's a little more thinky. And then there's the kids ones, which I don't think we're going to talk about, at least not tonight. But those are actually pretty fun. Some of them are pretty darn cool. They have like fun mechanisms like magnets and various ways that like things move on a board, and it's pretty sweet for kids games. Much better than anything like Sorry and Shoots and Ladders. Yeah, these are the really cool games. But um yeah, let's go through some of this list over here, and maybe we could even kind of like, even though we haven't played these and we don't have hands-on experience with them, at least not yet. Um, one thing that I also found kind of fun was to usually like, hey, try to get these games or try to get them to the table if somebody else has them, and
Right.
get to experience them. Um, but yeah, the award is going to be, it's still a little ways off. So we've got the nominations, which basically give people time to try them out. And the first one on the list is a game called Dorf Romantik. And this is actually a board game version of a video game that came out about a year or two ago that I know it's on Steam. It might be on mobile platforms, like iPad or whatever. I don't know if it's on Android, but it's definitely on Steam on PC. And it's like a tile laying puzzle game. Basically, from everything that I've seen, the video game is just like the it's just like the board game. And in this thing here, you're laying down hexagonal pieces, and they've got different, I'll call them like biomes on there. Like, think Cascadia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe even along the lines of Carcassonne a little bit, where you're laying down these tiles and you need to match certain things, like like if there's rivers or if there's train tracks, I think is the other thing. You basically need to match them. And when you draw a tile, you put this like little counter on top of it where it's got like a 4, 5, or 6, and then you need to make that, I'll call it biome, that big to score. So like try to make like 6 forests
Right.
in
Yeah, it
size.
it does kind of remind me of Cascadia.
Yeah, it's like a take on Cascadia, Carcassonne, a bunch of other kinds of resource or tile laying rather, uh, games. And this one looks pretty cool. I tend to like um, I like those games that kind of like make a map on the table because it always looks pretty cool. Like especially when you look at it from above. And if you check out the board, the video game on Steam, it's exactly that, where it's like you place all this stuff down. It's animated, right? You get like these trains that are like moving
Eh,
around on the board, so it looks more interesting. But it's like you when you after you finish the game, it's like you made this little world, kind of.
yeah.
But yeah, so there's that. There's Next Station London, which is I don't know if it's a roll and write, but it's a write game. So you get these pads.
It's
Yeah,
it's with the cards. Like draw was it a draw and right? Flip and right.
flip and write. Yes.
Flip and right. Yeah.
hmm So it's a flip and write game where you get like you're trying to draw like metro maps, and there's a bunch of different pencils in different colors, and you alternate. So you basically make one metro map, make another one, another one, another one. So like 4 different kinds, I believe. And the last one is Fun Facts, which is very much like a party style game. Would you agree with that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like party, family, very light ish, where you get this like arrow, or actually, I think the proper name is probably a chevron, right? It's a chevron kind of shape, or like a carrot on the keyboard. Like the carrot shape. And it's like you write your name on it with these dry erase markers, and then there's various questions like how much on a scale of 1 to 100, how much would you want to be a host of this Xbox life or this board game life?
Yeah.
Well, there's only one answer, right? 100%, right?
100%.
Yeah. But yeah, so what you wind up doing is like you write your number on there and then you try to
You try to guess like
yeah,
where your answer is in relation to others on the board or something like
yeah,
that.
exactly.
So you're like stacking on top of each other.
Yeah. So like if like on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like broccoli? I'm going to put
Yeah.
like maybe 10 and you're going to put like 99. So
No. 0. Can I do negatives?
no, but
Minus 100.
yeah. And then as long as you get them like in increasing order, right? Um each one that's higher than the other. So if there's four people playing and they put like 5, 20, 50, 100, that's 4 points. But if you have like 5, 20, 2, the number 2, 80, the one that's out of order falls out.
Right.
And then, it's like 3 points. So it's kind of like, you know, you write down like how much you like something and then the other people have to gauge how well they know you.
Yeah, some of the questions I'm looking at, it's like there's some that are from 0 to 100. So it's
Yeah,
like how comfortable are you with elderly people? How interested are you in becoming a spy? To what degree would you describe yourself as a sore loser? And then there's some that don't, and they label that from 0 to 100. Then those that don't have that little chevron, then it's like, what is your ideal number of vacation days per year? So it's not a percentage.
right.
It's still a number though. Yeah.
Could be 100.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. So it does kind of mix it up too. There's some in general, how long do you take to shower? How many times per year do you go to the movie theater? So it's definitely a party game.
Yeah. And the one thing about it is I don't know if you can play this game with strangers.
It would be tough because you know, I wouldn't know how comfortable someone in my gaming group is with elderly people. But in my family or really close friends, then yeah, this is one you would definitely want to be with people you know.
Hmm. Oh yeah. But yeah, so let's do kind of like a little guess over here. Actually, two things. Let's talk about what we think is going to win and which one do we think, or like how we would order these from our favorite to least favorite based on just what we've seen. I mean, because we haven't played them, so we can't really rate them on that.
It's
You want to go or
well, for these three, again, yeah, like you said, this is we had not played them. We're going off images that I'm seeing on Board Game Geek, and I'm not
reviews?
even looking at scores. I'm just trying to look at what the game looks like, and what the description of the game is. I'm not looking at what people have rated it, but I would put Next Station London probably in third place.
Really? Okay.
There's something about I think the symbols and the cards I don't like I find the cards very confusing. Like, and I'm sure if I read the direct, I'd be like, oh, this is what this means. It's just like the thing you're playing on, it just seems a little, I don't know. And maybe it'd be fine. It'd probably be okay once I played it. I'd probably love it because it does kind of remind me of Welcome to Your Home or your Welcome to Las Vegas, with that type of flip and right with the scoring and stuff at the bottom. But there's just something about this, and it is from Blue Orange, who makes freaking King Domino, which I love. But I there's just something about it. I was like, eh. And then the other two, the Dwarf Romantic, yeah, reminds me of Cascadia, and I think I would really like it. I think this would be a really fun one to play. Fun facts: I think I do enjoy party style games. That's the thing. I'm torn between these two for my first pick. I think I would take, because see, the Dwarf game reminds me a lot of Cascadia, or maybe even Carcassonne. I haven't played that in a long time, but it looked like a tile placing thing. I feel like I've got Cascadia, and maybe this is a little too similar. But fun facts is like I've got a million different party games, So
Yeah.
I'd probably put Dwarf Romantic as my number one if I was to get one of these. Because I think it's a little bit more different than the fun facts. But yeah, I'd go Dwarf, fun facts, Next Station London.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll do 3, 2, 1. In third place, I would definitely put Fun Facts. It's just that's while it would be fun, it would be something that I would basically want to just get over with so I can play like a real game.
And see, I think it's the audience too.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking a lot of like my family, like my mother. This is something my mother would really enjoy. It's something she
Exactly.
could do. My kids. It's like that's my main game group. That's why like this is kind of at the top for me.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm looking at my Wednesday game night group, which is people I don't know, we just gather. This would not be part of that. It would
Exactly.
be the
Yeah.
other two would be part of that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then in second place, and I was kind of going back and forth with these two, with the other two. Um, I would probably put Next Station London in second place. I do enjoy Roll and Write, Flip and Write. I think there's one more. I think there's one more class, whatever it is. But I do enjoy those, and they're very much like a little bit of a logic puzzle. And it seems like an interesting take. I don't know how much replayability it's got, but I just like the idea of it because I really like a game called Mini Metro. It's
Yeah.
on, a whole bunch of different platforms, and this kind of reminds me of Mini Metro, but in like a flip and right style game. And then, of course, number one, Dorf Romantic. This is one that just looks so cool to me. The gameplay just seems interesting, right? It's, some of the stuff that we've seen before in Cascadia and Carcassonne, but it looks like a cool idea. And I've actually like peeked at the Steam game and I'm like also tempted to get that. Although in some cases you could say that Dorf Romantic on Steam is like $15. maybe maybe it's the better buy than the board game, which will probably be like 40, 50, $60 at least. But yeah, I would put Dorf Romantic in first place. And this is my take on it. And then I would say, based on how the awards go, I would probably, oh man, that'd be a tough. I'd probably say Dorf Romantic would win. That would be my guess. And that
Yeah.
has nothing to do with my preference. It's just from the games that I know that have won in the past. But maybe it'll be
But
too similar.
Cascadia won last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, maybe it'll be too similar to that, right?
Right. Yeah.
But you never know. You never know how they judge these things.
Fun
Okay,
Facts is surprising me to me that this is in this group.
yeah.
It doesn't seem like, I don't know. It just seems too generic. Like so many other games that do stuff like this type of thing,
Hmm.
that it seems kind of weird to be in getting an award. But
Yeah,
I could be.
they've had like various card games in the past that have, been in there that are like, oh, that's kind of surprising. And like they've even won. Like there's a game called Hanabi that won, I don't know, like 5, 10 years ago. That actually it's a decent game. But this is like so light that yeah, it kind of is like it doesn't fit with the rest. Let's just say that. And then moving on to the Kennerspiel, there's a couple of them. First up is Challengers. So what's a good way to describe Challengers? It's
Confusing? No.
it's it's kind of like a funky take on war. Do you remember that war game playing as a kids, right? You flipping cards,
Oh yeah.
and then whoever has the higher card wins.
Uh huh.
It's basically like that, except I think the cards that you have, so they're characters, they have abilities, there's a number on them from like 1 to 4, and or what's that one? What's that one game from AEG that there's like a billion versions of them? Um, where you
Smash
have
up.
Smash Up. Thank you.
I
That
have half of those.
that was it. So you know how like Smash Up, like you have the base, I'll call it, and then you're putting your cards down, and then whoever has the most number wise wins. It's kind of like that and war, right? So you got the abilities of the cards, you got the numbers on the cards, and whoever has a higher number wins. So the gist of the game is, you draw your card and you put down, let's say, like a 2. Um, if then the other player goes and they put down a 1, they don't beat it. Then they put down a 3. So now it's a combination of 4. So that beats your 2. So then your 2 goes on the side and they take like the winner token. And now you're flipping your cards trying to beat them. And sometimes there's like, I'll call them power ups and so forth. It's like a really light game. It's just like war with, think of it like war plus, right? War advanced. And it's like
You said it was
really,
like capture the flag, right? That's you're
um,
trying to.
no, it's like war.
Okay.
But yeah, I could see like you're trying to, yeah, capture the other side based on having higher numbers, kind of. But yeah, so it's kind of like a deck building game. War. There's different card decks. Um, I don't know. I don't know about this one. It is supposed to be more challenging. I kind of wonder if there's like some crazy mechanic in there that kind of ramps up the uh, the gameplay, but I'm surprised that this is not in the regular category, right? Because I mean, it's war.
It
Uh,
says they say in here, if you think that it all sounds a lot like a board game adaptation of a digital auto battler
We are proud to tell you that this is the first of its kind.
Okay. So Auto Battler, I think of like Battle Breakers, maybe.
Battle Breakers. You got to sing it when you can't
Battle
just say it.
Breakers.
There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, there's that, and then there's Iki or Ike. This is actually a reprint of a game that came out, man, like 10 years ago. Let me see if I can find out when it came out. Yeah, I want to say it was like,
I thought it was 2015.
yeah, so 8 years ago, maybe. Oh, 2015. Yeah, 2015. And this has got that feudal Japan art like Hanamikoji, a bunch of other games. Yido is another one that I freaking love. And its its full name is Iki, a game of Edo artisans. So there's you get a game board where you put down these cards, which are different people, and you kind of level them up until they retire. And then once they retire, they go to your board, like your sideboard that you have, your personal player board, and then you keep getting resources from them. So this looks kind of interesting. Um, and then the last one is a game called Planet Unknown. And
This looks very interesting to me.
I'd say this is probably, I was going to say it's the heavier of the bunch, but according to BGG, that Ike is a 3.02 weight out of 5, and Planet Unknown is a 2.23.
Yeah.
So apparently it's the middle of the bunch. Challengers has a weight of 1.88. So it's the least of the bunch. But yeah, this one, if you look at it, definitely reminds me of Terraforming Mars because you got the big old planet in there. But I like some of the components. Have you seen those? Like, they got the sideboards with the little cutouts, kind of little indents in them
Yeah.
for your cubes and stuff. I always like that kind of stuff. And there's like a deluxe version of it. Did you? I think it's only the deluxe that has the Lazy Susan.
Yeah, I saw that. That's
Yeah,
I I don't know. Maybe that I almost think that probably comes in every version.
that would be cool.
Rotating cardboard, custom injection molded Lazy Susan. Oh, that's a limited $69 limited edition. Oh yeah, the deluxe edition has the Lazy Susan
So there's like
and the triple layer player boards, which you would want because that'll put your cube in the little square. Otherwise, it's a single layer player board in the regular version.
oh yeah, there's a crazy Lazy Susan. So yeah, there's a $69. I'm looking at the Kickstarter page for it.
That's what I'm looking at too.
Yeah, the $69 limited deluxe edition. It has I like how they describe this. It has the feels. Nice. Cool components. And then the regular version, there's like I saw some pictures. I'm assuming it's the regular version, but there was a Lazy Susan that seems to fit all of the components, all the tiles, like perfectly.
Yeah.
maybe that's what it eventually wound up as. Like if you look at BGG at the it doesn't say if it's limited edition or not. Yeah, it shipped last year, so this is definitely out. But yeah, I like the vacuum trays that they've got. Think of like game trays
Yeah.
quality. I bet it's game trays. It looks just like their stuff. But it
Well,
looks
it said
interesting.
at the bottom of their Kickstarter they had game trays listed.
Okay.
Yeah, game trays is they're collaborating with Game Trays for Planet Unknown. They will be supporting the project in both packaging and the Lazy Susan design.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So
Very cool. But yeah,
yeah,
this
this game
is
looks really good.
yeah. Think of what polyomino um, biomes that you're dropping on top of a planet, right? And you're trying to get stuff to fit. And then you have a bunch of different like score tracks that you're trying to like maintain, like technology, rover. What are these other ones? Civilization, water, biomass, rover, and technology. So this one definitely does look good. So that's the three. There's Challengers, Ike, and Planet Unknown. So what do you think, like in terms of from what you've seen, um, how would you rank these, and then which do you think is going to be the winner?
I would put Ike as 3, Challengers as 2, and Planet Unknown is number 1. That's again personal. The Ike just does not interest me at all.
Yeah.
Um, but outside of that, I would think that Planet Unknown will probably take it. I think this is pretty cool looking game.
Hmm.
And it seems like I don't know if it's unique. I don't have that much, you know, gaming knowledge, but it looks like it's something that's unique, which I think is really cool. I can see like it reminds me of several different games
Yeah.
that I like. Just and there's just little things about it, like the polyominoes remind me of Patchwork, the um, the placing of the cubes and advancing your powers reminds me of Space Base. And I think this looks really neat. Kind of hope that this gets it. I really think it's cool.
Yeah. And I believe you can order it. You can order
I
it.
haven't found it
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah.
I've been sitting here looking.
Oh, nice. Yeah, maybe yeah, you can go to the Kickstarter page and do a late pledge notification.
Yeah.
Oh, and you can do so when you get notified, it's for the English limited deluxe edition.
Well, that's what we want, right?
Yeah. Actually, I'm filling it out right now.
Yeah, I already did.
Nice, nice.
And I'm already going through the sites like
Yeah,
can I get this? I'm going to all my little sites and pasting in the name of the
yeah,
game to see if it's available.
yeah. The retail one might be out soon.
I don't think I'd want the retail version though.
Yeah,
I this just looking because like I said, even in the Kickstarter, if you're looking at it, you can see the difference between the one layer cardboard and the 3-layer cardboard. I'd rather have that 3-layer so that my cubes are not just sitting on a flat piece of card, you know, because they move around. I like the ones that you get to put in there and they kind of stay put. That's
yeah,
to me that's so much worth it.
yeah.
So
So, well, I guess that's a tell if we're both putting ourselves down to be notified when the deluxe edition's out. I guess that tells something immediately. So Wade, what did you say? You said number 3 was Iki.
Yeah.
Okay, then Challengers, then Planet Unknown, and then what do you think is going to win?
Planet Unknown.
Yeah. So for me, third place is Challengers. Ike is in second place. Planet Unknown is first. And then, man, between Ike and Planet Unknown, one of those two, I think. I don't think Challengers is going to get it. I'll probably have to go for Planet Unknown as well. So, well, we're thinking Dorf Romantic and Planet Unknown are the ones, right?
Yes. I think that's our picks.
Yeah, so actually I wonder, let me see when they're announced. I can never remember. Because they'll be announced later this year, probably around August, I think, July or August. So late this summer. So about another 2 months maybe, and we'll have to see. We'll see how we did, and then who knows? Maybe we'll have a chance to play some of these at Gen Con, and we can report back on what we think.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Absolutely. So so that's about it for the topics. You want to call it here?
Sure, I think so. We're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Over 90 minutes in. So, all right. So, thanks for listening, everybody. And we'll see how we did on our forecasting of the Spiel des Jahres nominations and stuff like that. Definitely let us know what you think and who you think is going to win. Also, if you've played any of them and what your thoughts are, you can do that on our website, this boardgamelife.com. We've got a voicemail section on there where you can click it and leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on the show. And then we've also got email contact at thisboardgamelife.com, and we'll read it on the site, or just use our contact page on our website too. Any of those works. All right. And so catch y'all in 2 weeks.
Take care, everybody. See you at the table.